Okay, so I had somebody that asked me if I would do a video on Midwest Chicken Cutlets timeline that she did about the Idaho 4 murders. And yeah. So I looked over her timeline and there were some things that stuck out to me right away that were like not true. And then some things that were inaccurate. And then some other things that I'm just like are pure fantasy. And then there was actually things in it that are fairly accurate because they came from some of the documents. But we're going to get into it and I'm not going through the whole thing. I'm skipping over some things, but um, let's get started. So very first thing I noticed is she has about Bethany waking up twice. So the first one she has 10 to 11 a.m. and then she has 11 to noon and says that's from the broken plea timeline. Yeah, the broken plea timeline, I don't even take anything Whitcomb says with a grain of salt. I go by what we actually have in the documentation that's been released and the interviews. And so I'm going to play you Bethany's interview because she definitely did not say 11 to noon for when she woke up.
I got up later than all them. They all went and got coffee and food. And then I woke up and no one was home other than Ethan. And me and Ethan were just hanging out upstairs.
But you remember what time you woke up?
Probably like 10 or 11 maybe.
Then it's saying Ethan Venmoed Kaylee, yup. And I noticed that time frame of 2:10 is not correct. So he actually Venmoed Kaylee twice, one at 10:59 a.m. and then the yeah one at 11:10 a.m. So not at 2 in the afternoon. Okay, this section I didn't really see anything that stood out to me as being inaccurate. There are a lot of things in here, though, where she's quoting the Broken Plea book. The Ford Explorer logs, we know they pulled the center stack, but they have never released to us any of those findings. So anything that Whitcomb's saying about where the Explorer went, I just can't verify. First thing I noticed on this page that's inaccurate is talking about the Cougar Den, and it says Dylan, Maddie, and Bethany enter new chats. Bethany and Ethan, or Bethany adds Ethan to the group. Well, the thing is, they didn't enter new chats. The Cougar Den had already been around. That was the group chat between Kaylee, Maddie, Xana, Bethany, and Dylan. So the 5 of them were already in it. They decided that night to add Ethan, and they also changed the name to Cougar Den that night. So people have been misrepresenting that and making it sound like Xana was not in it, and that they just added Ethan, and that it was a brand new group chat, and that's not true. Let's listen to Dylan's interview about that.
And you had a communication string going, and you all added Ethan to that string on
Yeah,
12.
we had a group chat with the 5 of us, and then we changed the group name to Cougar Den. I don't know why. But then me, Ethan, and Xana were all in, I think it was apartment at and we're like, oh, we should add Ethan. So we added Ethan that night to the group chat.
The next thing I noticed is she said that Hunter Chapin stated he went to bed at 10, but then on one night in Idaho, he says he saw Ethan and Xana last around 1:40 a.m. Well, I went back and listened to One Night in Idaho on Amazon Prime, and unfortunately, it will not let me screen record. Amazon shuts down the video when you try to screen record, but he never gave a time frame. He never said 1:40 a.m. He had just said he saw them and thought that they were leaving and heading back to Xana's house, but he never gave a time frame for that. So I'm not sure where she's getting that 1:40 a.m. time frame from. Okay, first one here that's inaccurate is saying that Maddie had Cole's DNA under her fingernails. It was actually inconclusive. Let's look at the lab report. So this was an unredacted part that had come out, but it shows you the likelihood ratios, and you'll see right there Cole Berenberg was 0.485. And if we come to this page, it will show you in relation to the others. So he was that 0.485, but the highest likelihood ratio under her fingernails of the unidentified DNA was actually Ethan, that 3.33 likelihood ratio. But all of these fell into the inconclusive category. So the only one they could definitively say that was under her fingernails was Kaylee's. So all the rest of these people could not be ruled in, could not be ruled out. So it is not factual to say that his DNA was under her fingernails. Okay, the next thing that stuck out to me was this whole thing about Xana's father speaking with her and that she was at home eating pizza. This has been a big bone of contention for quite a while now. Her father never said that she was home eating pizza when he spoke to her. Now, Kara had heard that she was eating pizza, but when she was asked if she knew if they'd ordered food, she said she didn't know. She couldn't say. And she had brought up the whole pizza thing in relation to other content creators that were telling her the rumors they had heard. But I'm going to play Jeff's interview that he gave to Arizona Family after the murders when he talks about when he spoke to her. Because he said nothing about her being at home and eating pizza.
Xana was in constant communication with her family, and nothing about that night seemed unusual.
I heard from her before we went out. I think midnight was the last time I heard from her, and she was fine.
Okay, it says 11:40 p.m. Ethan Venmoing Jack Hadovich $6. Well, first of all, that's the wrong time. And secondly, on Venmo, unless you're the person that's making the Venmo or receiving the Venmo, you can't see a dollar amount. So I don't even know how the $6 rumor got started, but we don't know what the dollar amount is. So that Venmo was actually at 8:40 p.m. and you cannot see a dollar amount. Okay, I just wanted to address here where it talks about Dylan seeing Xana for the last time at Allie's, but Kennedy Fitzgerald was saying that, Xana was never seen there at Allie's, because Kennedy was also who thought she saw Dylan and Bethany walking in a group back towards King Road also. And we know based on the interviews that Dylan and Lakeland went back to King and that Bethany had went back by herself at a different time. So I just want to point out that Kennedy herself even said she was trying to remember the best she could because she was drunk. And we need to remember that these kids had everything all confused in their minds. They had been out partying, they'd been drinking, and not to take everything they say as set in stone.
Male or female?
Female.
All female?
Yes.
How many other females do you think were with them?
3 or 4, I think. To be 100% honest, I was drunk, so.
Yeah, I have a feeling a lot of people were drunk that night, so.
Yes. So this is all kind of, I'm, trying my best to recall.
No,
So then the next thing she's saying is a car is seen coming up to Linda Lane, and one of the guys has his head down. And then she thinks that the people that are there could be David Loach, Peter, Hunter Johnson, Ethan, and Josie. Except we know it's not Ethan. We know it's not Josie. We know it's not Hunter Johnson. We know it's not Peter, all based on their interviews. David Loach, it doesn't look like him, but he wasn't interviewed, so we don't know where he was at that morning. But let's watch it, because this is... anyways, let's watch. Now, to me, it doesn't look like this guy is purposely trying to hide his face as he walks up. I hear a lot of people saying that they think he's trying to hide from the camera. It looks to me like he has his cell phone up to his ear as he's walking up to go to the apartment. I could be completely wrong on that. I may be wrong, but that's what it looks like to me. It doesn't look like he's trying to hide anything, like hide his face. It looks like his phone's up to his ear. And the one in white is not Ethan. Yeah, I get that he has a mop of hair that looks similar, but that is not Ethan. Look at the build. We also know that Ethan had been still in his clothing from the formal. That's not what he was wearing in the pictures for the formal. So anybody that keeps trying to say that this is Pete, Ethan, Hunter, any of them is just being stupid. We also know from their interviews that Pete was at Sigma Chi, and then over at AGR later, Josie was back at the apartments, Hunter was back at the apartments. It's not them, people. So on this page, it was never confirmed that it was Cole's DNA under her nails. We already went over that. And then just a lot of stuff about the cars coming back and forth and people walking by, and a car that had its blinkers on, and then a pizza delivery vehicle, possibly. I mean, we don't know. But even if it was a pizza delivery vehicle, it's irrelevant because we know they didn't have pizza delivered there that morning. The DoorDash was what was delivered, and that wasn't until 4. So that's just a bunch of stuff I'm not going to waste time on. Okay, so some more nonsense about vehicles coming and going, and then she tries to make a big deal about the people that pull into 1112 King because they stay in the car for a while, and that's honestly not a big deal. She's also trying to say that over on the Linda Lane audio you can hear help me, and other sounds, which... anyways, it's pure insanity what people think they hear in the Linda Lane sounds. But let's just watch that video of the girls right here, because yeah, what they're doing is they don't get out right away. I do that too when I've been out for an evening with friends. Oh, here they pulled in and then they had to back up a little again. But if you watch, they're in their car, you'll see them taking selfies. OG 20-year-old college students taking selfies in their vehicle before they get out and go into their house. Oh, the horror. Lock them up, people. Lock them up. They must have been involved because they sat in their car for a few minutes and took selfies. Good grief. So now on this page, we have more nonsense with claiming that she's hearing things on the Linda Lane audio, including Xana's name and telling people to go and etc., which, again, none of that's true. But then what stuck out to me is her trying to claim that there was a peeping Tom in the window of 1119. Yes, a peeping Tom, so she can tell that somebody's looking out the window. So let's take a look at that video. So all this is that the people in those individual apartments, they had people over. They told police that during the canvass later that day on the 13th. So you're seeing the people that are at these units at their parties just walking back and forth in the units. Honestly, if you're trying to say you see somebody peeking out, then you must have x-ray vision. Okay, next thing that stuck out to me was her claiming that Adam Lauda pulled his phone out immediately as soon as Kaylee and Maddie left the corner club. Well, I'm going to show you that video because if you can see somebody in that video with all the blurring pull a phone out, then more power to you. But I sure can't see Adam pulling his phone out. So here's that footage. There's where Kaylee and Maddie are leaving. And Adam, like, you can barely make out sitting over there near the door. And I can't tell if he's got his phone or if he's looking at somebody's ID or what. So, and what would it matter anyway if he pulled his phone out after they left? Honestly. So most of what's highlighted on this one is hers. The yellow highlights were hers. The one thing that struck out to me that I highlighted in yellow was, again, trying to claim that Hunter Chapin said they left around 1:40, which there's nothing that says that in the One Night Idaho documentary. And then I circled in red the other things that stuck out to me. So first one is she's trying to claim that there is the girl in the white jacket is an aunt lookalike that goes up to Hayden and hugs him. Well, the aunt lookalike thing is coming from somebody that claimed that Hannah Cleary's aunt was at the food truck because they believe this lady, because she has long reddish brown hair, looks like Hannah's aunt. But it's interesting because she's also claiming that there's two different people that are the aunt lookalike. But let's watch the video of the first one because she's also saying that after the girl gets hugged by Hayden and then is over there talking, then Hayden directs the aunt lookalike away from Kaylee and Maddie's direction. That's just not the case. So here's where this gal comes running up and hugs Hayden. And then we're going to fast forward a bit here to after she's gotten her food. So you'll see here that the guy that she was with starts heading in a different direction than she thought they were going to head, so then she follows him. Hayden doesn't direct her away from Kaylee and Maddie. And then the other stupid thing she brought in here is bright yellow hoodie guy leaves. Bethany has a bright yellow hoodie during an interview. Okay, there's a lot of people with bright yellow hoodies. I don't know if you've ever been to a college campus, but a lot wear them. And we actually saw more than one at the food truck, even, with bright yellow hoodies. So that's irrelevant. And here we go, the 144. Enid and aunt. So now she's claiming that this is Hannah Cleary's aunt again, which it's not. But she's also claiming it's Enan, which it's not. He was still at work until 2 a.m. over in Pullman. But I'm going to play this video for you. And if you take a listen to them talking, you can tell it's not Enan anyway by the way the guy talks, and he doesn't do that weird dolphin in heat laugh.
Can we make sure that she's nice and wet?
Oh, hold on. I would never give
She's
you
always
that.
wet.
It has to be.
Oh yeah, the other ludicrous thing that's on here, she's trying to claim that Joe Vito is pointing his pop can, that he has it aimed at the girls, which is weird. Except that's an actual pop can. For any of you that are still trying to claim it was a camera, it's not. It's a freaking pop can. Here's the video of him ordering it and the food truck guy getting it out of the cooler and handing it to him.
I don't want anything to drink. I want
Water.
Yes.
Two waters?
No, one water, one Coke.
One water, one Coke.
No cheese? Got it. I got it right here for you.
2 5 cheese, 1 water,
Yeah.
1 Coke. It's going to be $19 for you. Oh, yeah, man.
Oh, shit. There's my wallet. That's my pocket. You're good. Oh, well, you did. And then, don't worry. And then I looked over.
Let's talk about this part. No one asks about a password. You hear the guy in the food truck say, you said it was a pesto, right? He was talking about the pesto for the macaroni. And then, yeah, okay, Jovi and Hayden pull their phones out. But if you look, they're not looking at the same thing. They didn't have their phones out at precisely the same time. One of them put theirs away before the others. The other people in the group don't have their cell phones out all at the same time. Obviously, large groups of 20-somethings, you're going to have cell phones. Also, nobody was shouting Xana's name. That's confirmation bias. If you listen, you can hear the girl that's yelling names is yelling Greta. She's yelling Brianna. She's yelling her friends' names, and you can see her friends walk over to her as she yells her names. There was no fight club. Nothing at the grub truck had anything to do with the murders either.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I got one chicken taco right here for you.
And then you'll order 94.
No, that's too damn bad.
Thank you. Love it. All right, that's the line again.
Oh, thank you, Joe. Okay. How far are we on that? You said it was a pesto, right? Okay. far as that trouble.
Like a quarter left?
Yeah, I know. Fucking working there. I got one cheese sauce left in the roll. What's that partial in that? What's the partial in there?
Then she claims that there's an active peeping Tom again at 1119 and that people are amped up at the grub truck. But, you know, there is no peeping Tom. It's just people in the apartment again, near the windows. And if this is amped up, then that's kind of crazy.
Those are some fucking big tacos. We're going with it because I don't care right now.
So here's where we get her world of make-believe really steady, where she starts claiming she's hearing things on the Linda Lane camera and the 1112 camera that include the girls' names, people saying to get up, saying, you know, I just want to go to bed, yada, yada, yada. I classify this as BS. Okay? This is complete nonsense. As I said before, it's confirmation bias. They're wanting to hear things on the audio that doesn't exist. Okay, and we have some more nonsense, and she's even trying to claim that on the 1112 camera that you could actually hear somebody from inside 1122 choking and gasping and in terrible pain. No, you wouldn't be able to hear that from that camera, and you're not hearing that from that camera, and you're definitely not hearing that from Linda Lane either. Then she also said that David Barry Ochoa sent a Venmo to Jaden Bennett at 2:39, but that's not when he sent it. He actually sent that at 11:39 p.m. And again, just like with a lot of these other things on her timeline, it's not even relevant, so I'm not sure why it's even on her timeline. Then we have the peeping Tom again at 1119, and this time she's trying to claim that there was a flash. Well, yes, there was a flash inside. No one's denying that, but guess what? That flash is from a camera phone, or a camera on a phone. It's somebody taking a picture. Okay? It's not a gunshot like a lot of people keep stupidly trying to claim. Okay, these next few pages have a lot of things that were verifiable in the documents, but then also more of her stupid peeping Tom nonsense and things like that. So, and again, anything that came from Broken Plea, we can't really verify. Then on this page, she's trying to claim that Dylan uploaded a photo to Visco at 3:33 a.m., but that is not true. Dylan uploaded it at 12:33 a.m. Now, also on this page, she's saying that Emily Venmoed Xana at 3:51 a.m., $14. First of all, we can't check it because that has not been released in the documents, and Xana's Venmo transactions have not been available for a long time on Venmo to take a look at. And Emily is denying that there was a 351 Venmo, and I believe Emily over Christopher Whitcomb. These next few pages look fairly accurate, just the Snapchats, the messages, all of what was going on when Dylan and Bethany were trying to figure out what was going on in the house. I'm not really going to parse a lot of that. Now on this page, what stood out to me was her putting in information that was a complete fabrication from Birdie. She's saying at 4:44 a.m., crypto sent 3.15 million hex and has Ghost KG handler network. This was a whole live that Birdie did one night where he used artificial intelligence and also claimed that he saw things hidden in a video, and then tried to claim that there was a bunch of money sent on hex and that Kaylee had hit some sort of kill switch and that's what prompted the murders. Completely fabricated, not true at all. Why she would include it in the timeline is beyond me, but then she includes a lot of things that are false in the timeline, and she has lied a lot, so I guess it's par for the course. And then I circled this about Dylan traveling 30.77. Now, it doesn't tell us if that's miles, feet, meters. That came from Christopher Whitcomb's book. She puts that it came from Dylan's cell, but we have never seen documents that state that. That was only Whitcomb that claims this distance and stairs climbed, etc. It can't be verified. At this time, it cannot be verified. So to put it in a timeline like it's true, it's a bit shady to do that. Then what's stuck out to me on this one was her trying to claim that the guy at the dumpster on Linda Lane is Jack Ducour. So let's take a look at that. So first of all, that guy's smoking a cigarette. Jack Ducour used a vape. He didn't smoke cigarettes. Also, the other thing is the flights from like Pullman to Boise leave around 5:40 in the morning. So I believe this is just somebody that was getting a ride share to the airport. You had a lot of people in town that weekend because it was the Vandals' last home game. It was WSU's parents' weekend, and this could have been somebody that just had come into town for the weekend that was catching their flight. I really believe if this was anything nefarious, that law enforcement would not have allowed that Linda Lane video to be out there. They never tried to pull it back. I did highlight the parts about Dylan creating images, modifying images, because with Cellbrite, when it says created, that doesn't necessarily mean that she took photos or took video at that exact time. It's created also when you've saved something to your phone. So if somebody had sent her pictures from the formal on Friday night, or photos, videos, etc., Snapchats from that evening before, and then she saved them to her phone, and while she was doom scrolling because she didn't know what was going on and she was nervous, she started editing those photos and videos. It's a good chance she didn't take anything that morning. And you can also tell by the sequence numbers that if those had all been photos that she had been snapping that morning, you wouldn't have had the gaps in the sequence numbers. And then the next thing is where it says that Murphy was seen in front of Jack's house. Well, here's video of the dog. I don't know. I can't tell that that's Murphy, so I can't definitively say that's him. So we don't know. We don't know. And I don't think there'd be any way to get confirmation on that because nobody honestly knows whether Murphy was in Kaylee's bedroom the whole time. Then the rest of it, nothing really snuck out to me again. I mean, we just had all their Snapchats, their messages, the things from Whitcomb again about Dylan maybe going up and downstairs. Again, we can't confirm any of that, but that's all I got on that. I guess what kind of stuck out to me the most on that was there was so much stuff in that timeline that didn't even need to be there. Things that were completely irrelevant. And then, of course, the things that were fabricated, and then the things of hearing certain things on Linda Lane or the 1112 audio that's her own confirmation bias. So those things don't really need to be in the timeline because they're not factual. And I notice she's not the only one doing this. There's other content creators that have also put out timelines that are full of fictitious things and full of things that have nothing to do with the murders at all. So hopefully this helps. If there's something you want me to tunnel down into further on the timeline, let me know. And as always, if there's another topic you want me to look into, let me know.